Hi friends, it's Allison here. Thanks for joining me again. I'm dropping by to share a new layout with you. It's just a single page 12 by 12 layout that is made with some Cricut die cuts. I'm just showing you the die cuts there. There is a heart, wreath, some floral die cuts, and here I'm trying to decide what I want to mat my white cardstock to. I do have the sheet of Lagoon cardstock over to the left side of the screen. Originally, I was thinking of using that to mat my paper with, and then I decided why not use some cardstock. So I'm trying to choose between Carta and Photo Play. And the two collections, I have to double check here because I can't remember what they are. Carta is Fall Market. These are older collections. And then the Photo Play collection is Tula and Norbert. So I end up settling for the Carta striped pattern paper. I loved the colors in it. And it coordinated really well with the colors in my floral die cuts. So that is the paper I'm using. It's called Wagon Time. I was just showing you the branding strip there. And I trimmed my white cardstock down just by 1/4 inch on two sides. So there is a tiny little border all the way around the layout. Now that I have that in place, I'm going to add my wreath. I just love this wreath. It's so pretty. When I sat down to design this layout, I knew that I wanted to use a wreath of some sort, but I didn't know exactly what kind of wreath. And then when I saw this, I knew that was it. So I cut that from Close to My Heart fern cardstock. There's the picture that I'm going to be scrapbooking. It's a picture of my daughter's flip-flops. My daughters and I are hippies at heart. We do not like to wear socks, and we love having free feet, meaning we are always in flip-flops. It doesn't matter if the weather is cold and there's snow on the ground, you will find us in flip-flops any time of year. Here are the flowers that I die cut. They are cut from a variety of different cardstock papers, mostly white, but there is some Lagoon, some purple. I'll have all the cardstocks that I used listed down below in the description box so you can have a peek at those. I also wanted to use my stickles. These stickles came from Michael's. They're just the Ranger stickles, and the ones that I used are Sunburst, Grapefruit, and Palm Leaf. I originally was thinking that I would just brush the stickles onto the flower tops just to give them a little bit of sparkle so that it would match my daughter's flip-flops, because the plastic posts on her flip-flops had sparkle as well. But then I decided as I got going that I was actually just going to squeeze the stickles directly onto the flowers. So I did that on the flower centers, and then for the littler flowers I brushed it on just because I thought it would be easier on such a small space. Now in hindsight, I should have waited to do the stickles until I had everything glued to my layout, because I had to be very careful as I was creating afterwards because everything was wet. And I knew that before I did it, but in that moment in my train of thought, I just thought it was a good idea. So if you use your stickles ever in your crafting, just wait until you've got it stuck to your layout. Or if you're going to do it like I did, set aside at least half an hour, 20 minutes for it to be good and dry before you start sticking it to your layout. It didn't end up being catastrophic. It was fine, but I just had to be careful. Like you can see right there, I was using my Cricut spatula to pick things up because everything was wet. And then it made adding foam squares tricky. The only flower that didn't get stickles was the purple one that I just adhered, because I don't have a purple stickles. So that's the only The only one that didn't get some sparkle treatment. I am going to sprinkle the flowers around the layout. I have one giant die cut. I think I have it adhered already for the title. And the title is Life is Better in Flip-Flops, which in our case is 100% true. I kind of toyed around with adding stickles to the title as well, but I decided to skip it. I also really wanted to add a little bit more texture to this layout as well. I've been thinking about that a lot lately in my crafting, and just adding more of my stash, hand stitching, just different things to add a bit more life to my layout. So I have pink sewing thread just at the top of the screen on the right that you can see poking out there. I am going to pull it out and add thread underneath the floral clusters. I am not too particular about adding the thread. I pull a whole bunch out, cut it off, and then scrunch it all up and then place it underneath the photos. I don't usually add any glue to the thread to keep it in place. I find that whatever glue or adhesive I'm using is enough to keep them put. So they do peek out here and there. They're not really dominant, like noticeable in the layout, but you can see it. It's noticeable enough to not blend in too terribly much. I just like the little peekaboo effect of the thread. And I will do this a little more often, I think, in my crafting, because I like the look so much. A lot of the floral images in this layout are going to be adhered with foam squares for dimension. That also helps with adding the sewing thread underneath too. So see, you can just see there, I pulled it off the spool, kind of bunched it up a little bit, and then plunked it down where I wanted it. And that's it. There's no real secret to how I do it. Yeah, I added quite a bit of sewing thread to this layout. I had a few other colors. Now that I think about it, I could have used yellow as well, but I just stuck with the pink. I wanted to use the pink because there's not a whole lot of pink in this layout except for that one lone little flower by the purple flower. And it works. I think it's really pretty and I like the effect. Some of the flowers I did add just with my Tombow Mono liquid glue, just because I didn't think they needed the height as well. But the rest all, and the title as well, has the foam squares. As I was putting this layout together, I totally forgot about the leaves that are up at the top of the screen. I do remember before it's too late to add them. So I do eventually get around to adding them. But after I have the title and all the flowers put down, I was going to add the journaling and then realized, here we go, I have leaves to add to the layout. They were cut from a cardstock that is darker than the fern, the heart wreath in the background, just for depth, I guess, and so that you could see the difference between the two leaves. I didn't want them blending in with each other. So now that after I get the leaves, adhered to the layout, I am going to add my journaling to the very bottom left-hand corner of the layout. And then I'm also going to add the date with my roller date stamp. And then of course, to add the journaling, I use my ruler, a straight edge ruler and pencil, mark out the lines, and then I'll add my journaling with a black pen. And with that, the layout is pretty well done. I do go back afterwards and pull out Tim Holtz phrase sticker book that I have. I also got this from Michael's. It's called Small Talk. And I add just a couple of phrase stickers to this layout, and then I also add some close to my heart black enamel dots around the page a little bit, just for a little bit more embellishing. And that's pretty well it, my friends. It's a very simple layout. Doesn't look like it though with the die cuts that I have in there. There are a lot of little pieces to the die cuts, so there's lots of layers to them. But I mean, after you have them all adhered together, it's just one big title mat, a few flowers, and some stickers. Here I'm just showing you the Tim Holtz sticker phrase book that I have, and I'll add one to the top floral cluster, and then I add one to the photo by the floral cluster and the title there as well. And that's it, my friends. This layout is done. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this layout inspired you in some way, and I'm really glad that you decided to swing by and spend some time with me. Also, I just wanted to thank all of my new followers for subscribing and following me. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you share my channel with your friends and spread the good news. I will be back again next week with another layout, and I hope you have a good week in between then. I also just want to know, before I let you go, if you'd like to see more layouts from me than once a week, if I should try and do it a little more often and a little more regularly. So let me know, because I'm more than happy to share more videos of my layouts. And also, if you are a Cricut subscriber to Cricut Access or a Cricut user, you can follow me in Cricut Community. All of the designs for my layouts are shared there, so everybody can use it. They are for your personal use though, so please just keep that in mind. I will include the link for that down below in the description box as well. There's a few close-ups coming. I really appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for joining me. I will see you again soon. Bye!